Hey guys, it is Christine. Welcome back, or if you're new here, welcome. I am so pleased to have you. I am a homeschooling mama to 3 children, and here at this homeschool house, I love to share homeschool content that is hopefully helpful to you. That is my intention. I want it to be encouraging and helpful to other homeschool mamas. So, if that sounds like something that'll interest you, please go ahead and subscribe, hit that notification bell so that you know when I upload new videos. I am going to be talking about the topic of challenges in homeschooling, and these are going to be very specific to me. These are my challenges, the things that I struggle with the most, and I'm going to be doing it in an attempt to be very honest and open with you, because I think when you go on Instagram and even YouTube and you see these like homeschool with me videos, or like you get snapshots into people's homeschool day, you don't see all the behind the scenes stuff that can be really stressful and challenging and not perfect. And so I want you to hear a little bit of the not perfect in hopes that it will encourage you and make you realize that imperfect mothers still can be good homeschool moms. That is my intention for this video, so please keep watching. So I come from a unique perspective in that I was homeschooled myself for, I think, the majority of my schooling. Certainly the last half of it anyway. And my mother was not a perfect homeschool mom. I can say that for sure. She was not a perfect mother. She still isn't a perfect mother, but she's a heck of a good mother. And so that in itself has given me a lot more confidence with homeschooling my kids, because I knew there was no prerequisite to homeschooling that like you had to be a perfect mother in order to do it. You didn't have to be a patient mother or any of those things that you think about that hold a lot of people back from homeschooling. I knew that that just wasn't true, because my mama is a really good mama, but she's an imperfect mom, and that's okay. But she did a really, really amazing job at homeschooling myself and my 3 younger siblings. In saying all that, all of her hard work and effort that she put into homeschooling, it helped me a lot as far as instilling confidence that I could do it with the help of the Lord, but it doesn't take away my imperfections. And so I'm going to share a few of them with you today, and hopefully it'll help you feel like you're not alone if you're struggling with the same things. And if you're considering homeschooling, maybe this might just be the thing that encourages you that you can. That it is possible, and that you don't, I always think I'm not enough, but with God, I am, and it's okay to not be enough, because you're never supposed to be. You were never supposed to be the perfect magical fix to every problem that your child has. You're there to guide them. You're there to learn yourself and to have a teachable spirit, but you're not supposed to be enough. So, with all those deep thoughts, let's get into it. The first thing I'm going to talk about is patience. I am not a patient mother. Okay? I'm not. I get really frustrated when my child will not sit still and pay attention to a lesson. And that results in me snapping at them. It results in me being grumpy and taking the joy out of the homeschool day. 100% that happens. Okay? A way that I have found that really helps with that, and this is actually a tip that I got from Her Heart's Homeschool over on Instagram, is when you feel like you're going to explode and snap at your child, and this is just a general parenting tip she gave, but I've applied it specifically to homeschooling and parenting in general, but homeschooling as well, is to stop and pray out loud. And I can tell you, this mama does a lot of praying throughout the day out loud. And it has made quite the difference to our homeschool day. So we start our day with prayer. Before I sit down and do one-on-one lessons with my son, we start it with prayer. And if I'm about to lose my temper and snap, I have, for the most part, been able to stop and pray aloud. And it has made a big difference. It has made a difference to my child, and it's made a difference to my attitude as well, because he can hear that mommy's about to lose it and she's asking God for help, and so this must be important. And for me, it helps just like diffuse the situation, and I don't lose my temper so quickly. So I want to encourage you, if you are a Christian mother, that praying aloud really does help, and it is a great example for your children. And I think a mother wrote into Her Heart's Homeschool, and she said something to the effect of, imagine if your child said, instead of your child saying, Mama's so mad she yelled, your child said, Mama's so mad she's praying. And that like makes me want to cry, because I just think like, oh my gosh, I just want that for my kids. I want them to know that when we're not enough and we're feeling that we stop and we ask for help, instead of just letting all our human frailty explode over everyone, you know? And I think most of us know that mothers set the tone of the house, and this has made a big difference in our home. So I have like been that mama who has yelled and shouted at my kids and felt just terrible at the end of every day. And so if that's you, I really, really want to encourage you to try this, because it has made a big difference. And God does not expect us to be perfect mothers, and we're not supposed to be like endless patience. That's just impossible. But He fills in the gaps, and He makes it enough. So I'm encouraging you with that. That is probably my biggest, I would say, like character flaw. The next thing is more of like a superficial thing, but it is major, like FOMO. When I see stuff on Instagram and YouTube, and I see all these different curriculums, and I want to do it all. It is really hard to say no. It's really hard to say, I don't need that. We don't need this. We don't need all the pretty posters. We don't need all of the books. It's hard to say no to that stuff. But it is also something that I feel is really important to keep things simple, because it's very easy to get overwhelmed quickly if you jump on the bandwagon for everything. So I'm giving you permission to say no to all of the things, use what works, forget about the stuff that doesn't, and also realize that we live in a time where things are so much more attainable. Like they really are. My parents had to really work hard to get toys and things like that for myself and my siblings. And I would not say that we were ever poor, but my parents had to work hard to do it. And I'm working hard to keep toys away and out of our house, because it's so easily affordable now. And it's just there, and we just live in a different generation now where it's like about saying no to things. And I think in some ways it's harder, because when you didn't have the money for things, you just didn't have the money for it. Like you just couldn't get it. But this is like an action we have to be very intentional about, and it can extend into your homeschooling as well. So don't let homeschool stuff like clutter your house and overwhelm you. It's okay to say no to it, even though it is really hard. My next challenge with homeschooling is getting resources. I know I just talked about like not like FOMO and all that kind of stuff, but in actual fact, because I live in New Zealand, a lot of the stuff is based in the States or international. Shipping is ridiculously expensive, and so oftentimes the cost of getting things just outweighs the benefit. And even our libraries, oh my gosh, you guys, it is so frustrating. Our libraries are just not up to par as far as the quality of books that our children can access, and it frustrates the life out of me. So I bought the Year of Learning or Year of Tales curriculum to use next year with my children, and it's Beatrix Potter. It's like a unit study based on Beatrix Potter. I have got all the Beatrix Potter books. Like, that's not hard to get. But the book list, I did not find and there's like hundreds of books. I did not find a single one in our library. Not a one. Nothing. So that makes it very expensive if you do want to go out and get those books. So I am very particular with the books that I choose to get. I want them to be ones that we're going to keep in our home for a while and I'm going to use over and over again. And then the other thing that I do is go onto YouTube, because oftentimes there's people reading aloud those books on YouTube. So I'll search the title and the author and I will find that, and then I just make a note of the URLs and keep them handy. So that's a little tip if you are like me and you're struggling to find the books. And if you're in the United States, count your lucky stars because you have a lot more available to you. And this is like coming from someone, like I remember my mother having nothing. She used to have to order like a massive big box of curriculum from the United States for us once a year, and it cost the earth. Like, it was so expensive and it took so long to come. So I am fully aware that things are a lot more accessible than they used to be, but even still, it can be very frustrating not being able to get the stuff that you need. So, and books, I think a lot of us can agree. I've got, like, I don't mind using a Kindle and like getting ebooks and stuff like that, but there's just something about having the physical copy of a book that makes all the difference, especially like picture books. Like, nobody wants to look at that on a digital, it's just not as fun. So yeah, anyway, last one is balancing the needs of my toddler and my preschooler and my 5-year-old. And homeschooling, I'm not going to beat around the bush. Homeschooling with a toddler is hard. It is hard. Homeschooling with like a preschooler is not so bad. My 3-year-old will happily just tag along. My almost 2-year-old, however, is loud and destructive and has zero respect for the homeschool schedule that I would like to do. So, I mean, I try and work around nap times. I try and do independent play with her whenever I can. And the things that we do when she's awake are like things that I will not stress about so much. It might be more like preschool work as opposed to like my kindergartner's work. So that is something that I do struggle with. I'm also very aware that a year from now, it's going to look very different because she'll be almost 3 and it will be a lot easier. And so tips I have, aside from like working around nap time and independent play, is sensory bins, Play-Doh, the kind of stuff they can play with that is not going to destroy the entire house in the process. It's hard to find those things though. So yeah. I have one other thing that I forgot to add to the list, and that is taking field trips and getting out of the house. I know that there are mamas out there who feel like they have to get out of the house every single day, otherwise they're going to go stir crazy. That is not me. Taking my kids out makes me feel crazy because, especially in winter, there's like coats and socks and shoes, and like it is an effort to get everybody ready, and I have to do it all on my own. No one's like overly independent yet, so I'm doing a lot, and then getting 3 of them in and out of car seats. It's hard work, and so I find it really difficult to actually get out of the house and do field trips. It's just not my thing. But I've also given myself a lot of grace in the stage. Like field trips for us is like going to the playground or the library, and we go to swimming lessons once a week at the moment. So we do not do the library and playgrounds every week. I'm also a huge fan of my kids just learning to be happy playing outside in the backyard. Our yard's big enough. They can use their imaginations. That's what they do the vast majority of the time. But that is something I really struggle with. But yeah, those are my current challenges. They will change throughout the years, I am sure. But I wanted to be real and honest and open with you in case you're in a similar stage. I would love it if you would share your challenges down in the comments below and let me know what struggles you have and any tips maybe that you've found help you out, because I know there will be other homeschool mamas out there who are struggling with the same things. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Had more of your smile. What if the wind could spread your love